Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran here with Yanzi Lynn. And today we're talking more decimated comics. We're talking mainly about Heidi McDonald today. That would be the main owner and journalist of the Comics Beat, which is kind of, I don't know, been a site for years. Used to talk about mainstream stuff, kind of got really SJW, talked a lot about indies. They throw out a lot of misinformation about the American comic book industry, and we've talked about it here on this stream. And today they're getting kind of snagged up in it. And here we go. Now, first, we want to point out Heidi McDonald says, turns out comics are not dying. Don't believe the charlatan conman. This is a classic tweet that she did in 2022, June 30th. Now, at the time, I guess I'm the charlatan here, but at the time, the comic industries like ourselves are doing better than ever because they had been padded and fluffed up with manga sales, YA books, a lot of things that normally aren't. I mean, how do you take credit for manga sales when we don't produce manga? Doesn't make sense, right? How do we tally that into what we sell in comics? Doesn't make sense. It's an import. That money isn't being basically reinvested into our industry. It's actually being licensed from another country, and the money basically goes to the license holders of that. Maybe some make a little profit, but you can't really taking credit for it, not so much.
You can't take credit for it just because the American comic industry has nothing to benefit from the sales of manga. It's not as if, more manga sales, that means more Americans will be employed. That doesn't even happen. They actually, like, some of these companies are actually using their own in-house translators because they're like, yeah, we don't want you guys to, add your weird activist messages and so on into our translations. So we'll do our own translation. Thank you very much. So today, where is Heidi McDonald? Heidi McDonald says, I dug a bit into the rise and fall of the comic book sales chart. I think it can be argued we need them now more than ever. Sales charts are good for morale. So they actually did an article talking about how important comic book sales charts are, so on and so forth. I know comic store owner says morale will be crippled if that happens. Heidi replies, I hear what you're saying, but right now we have no success stories. No one can say I'm a bestseller. I think that hurts. So he also admittedly I'm an observer and not on the front lines. All right, so one thing is that you want to say no one can say I'm a bestseller, but there are a lot of industries that really literally promote bestsellers. We talk about like the New York Times bestseller list and so on and so forth. The comic book industry is very odd in that they don't want to reveal the actual sales numbers. And frankly, that's not something hard to do. All you need to do is tell Marvel and DC and Image and all these people to tell us how many copies of books they had printed. And that's it. That is literally all you need.
Problem with that also, and people have to keep in mind, these are going to be copies ordered, not sold. Meaning that these are things retailers ordered, whether they had to hit a qualifying number to unlock a variant cover of Marvel Comics or something like that. The sales don't look good, but even that they don't look good, do know not all of these books sold. So anyways, we do have some numbers though.
Yep. So Heidi is saying, well, there's no sales charts. So if you go to a website like ICB2, you can actually see they do post some of these sales chart numbers. Like, for example, so let's look at this. Top 500 comics of April 2019. Let's call that 4 years ago. So the top selling book sold 187,000 copies. Second is 165,000. So not too shabby at all. But let's see how the sales chart looks, from last year. So this is like about a 2-3 years difference, you want to call it that. Bestseller is The Last Ronin for 100,000 copies. And next is Amazing Spider-Man #1 for 92,000. Okay, wait, a #1 book that doesn't even break 100 and it's a Spider-Man book? That is quite sad, actually.
Batman usually was counted as selling 100,000 copies. Now,
we know that is not reliable anymore. And if you look at it, this is the sales chart number. You compare that with what? Just 2-3 years ago, it's pretty much half of what it's doing. And I don't know, man. I mean, Heidi, you said there are no sales charts being reviewed. Well, here they are. Now, granted, this is not actual sales charts, Heidi actually clarifies and actually asks comic book retailers, hey, you want to get in on offering up the best-selling numbers from your stores and stuff? And it's like, wow. Heidi, you know how dangerous that is, right? You're basically telling people that you want people to know exactly what customers are buying. And they may not be the titles you think people are buying. Like, they keep rebooting Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel and all these titles. And they're like, oh, #1, oh, look at the best-selling thing. But what if it's like selling only 5,000 copies or so? And that's to the retailers. And then what if the retailers only sell like, maybe 2,000 copies? Do you know how bad that is for the whole idea of Marvel saying diversity is our strength? DC saying, oh, more race swapping and sexuality swapping, please, because that's what our people want. And it turns out maybe that's not what people want. Maybe that's why we shouldn't have the sales charts out, because some of these weird agenda-driven comics will probably actually show their true colors.
Right, right. And keep in mind, there's been this big lie going on that comic sales are doing better than ever, and this is very damaging for retailers, because once you start putting that news out there that comics are doing better than ever and they're not, it may give people a false sense of a business opportunity, meaning that they should be reinvesting their capital into the American comic book industry by ordering stuff they can't sell that nobody's buying. I've read an article where some people are starting up comic shops. Why? Maybe because people like Heidi McDonald are telling people the industry's doing better than ever when it's obviously not.
I think it might just be some kind of weird, self-fulfilling prophecy. Maybe people are saying, "Oh, industry is doing better than ever. Look at all the shows coming out on Disney Plus, all the Marvel shows. Maybe it's doing better than ever. We should all get in on this."
And what she's saying here is this is the denial, and the problem really is, and we're going to get into this tweet, but when we go through this tweet, do know if you do not assess a problem, you cannot fix a problem. You're first going to have to admit where the sales problems are. If your periodicals are down, it's probably the content in the periodicals.
So again, of course, just to start with, comics are doing great. This is harking back to this one. Comics are not dying. Comics are doing great. Periodical comics are struggling in various degrees. They also have no sales chart to show bestsellers. Honestly, we have no idea how well or badly they're doing until we get sell-through numbers. Would your store participate in such a project? So let me quickly mention though. So she early on in this chain also, she talked about how, oh, if you only talk about superhero comics, obviously they're doing poorly. But then you have companies that after showing all that whose staples are not just superhero books and they are going bankrupt. IDW is obviously not superhero. They're kind of, in danger of being delisted. So when you say periodical comics, you might as well just say American periodical comics. Don't just say, oh, only superhero, because that's what she's trying to argue.
Right. But how do you say this? Comics are not done. Comics are doing great. Okay. First sentence, comics are doing great. Then periodical comics are struggling in various degrees. Like, I mean, how do you follow? You start with a lie and then follow up with like, here's some real info. It's like this comics are doing great. Like that's just stop it. At least admit, like take that out. Just take that out of the tweet. That shouldn't even be there.
Yeah, she's just basically going to color the whole tweet. All right, I think the big issue here is that Heidi is about to open a huge can of worms. We only saw these are this is the quantity ordered by retailers, okay? Now she's literally asking store owners to tell them what is being actually sold in the stores.
Right. But
and we know it's never going to be the numbers here.
Again, with the last run, it had a million variant covers also. So the number one book in the year that's dropping had a gazillion covers. Anyways, let's go.
I think the issue here is that she's basically trying to kill the industry at this point. Because if you reveal the actual sales, imagine if you say, oh, we sold, okay, let's say we sold 100,000 copies of The Last Ronin. But what if most of them are people ordering to qualify for variants? What if the actual customer buy-through number is only half of that? Now that Heidi is kind of in this weird situation where she's basically telling store owners to tell people exactly what sells and what doesn't sell, which may really throw a wrench on the whole, we have to make all these books for purpose of reflecting the real world outside us. She decides to go on the offense. So here we have Joe Ball being quote tweeted by somebody where he explains, oh, this is my project book. And he says, process pictures, blah, 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 back my book. Sign for our next Tolkien Comics one. All right. And what does Heidi say? Too bad he's the bad readers to donate money to fund his books. Okay, wow. Is Joe Ball here asking for money? He's asking for people to support his project. I guess promoting now is considered what? Begging for money?
Joe Ball, who I know, he has a crowdfunder up called Death. And this book is up and funding right now. You can Google it or come across a direct link of it and check it out, back it. But what you're doing is you're buying it pre-ordered. Like you are backing the project and you will get a copy of the book. Now, I'm going to go on a limb and say that Marvel and DC do the same thing. That they put out a solicitation copy for a book. And working in the industry, I can promise you sometimes those solicitation copies, they don't even have finished covers. There might not even be a script. They just have a paragraph. That's it. and retailers are putting money down ordering books that really don't exist for the hopes that in 3 months they will get a copy of that book that they can sell. Now, that's the same thing as begging, as far as I'm concerned. A pre-order system is not begging for money. Now, if you're advertising and you're actively advertising because you don't have the shill media like Heidi McDonald doing an article about the book, you know how many articles The Beat does on Kickstarters and diversity comics that comics are like, hey, this creator has these check boxes and he has a crowdfunder over here. So is she calling all of those begging for money for their books because they're crowdfunding? They do articles on crowdfunded books. So I don't understand this tweet from Heidi. Arguably, you could say Marvel and DC do the same thing with a pre-order system.
I'll tell you what I think is going on, though. I think something kind of hit home for her. So recently, The Beat actually has to open up a Patreon, asking if people to help pay for their server costs and everything. And I guess it's kind of she kind of got called out for begging for money to keep her website running. And now I guess anytime anyone asks for some money, it looks like begging to her. But here's the thing. In the case of crowdfunders, you are not begging for money and getting nothing in return. You're not even begging. You're just saying, here's something. If you like it, support it, and you get a book in return. Now, if you support...
In a lot of cases, yeah.
If you support The Beat, what do you get? You get a friend of The Beat mention. Yay. Wow. I guess if you get...
Look, if the industry is doing better than ever, and I advise Heidi and I advise everybody in the mainstream comics, quit saying the comic industry first, quit saying the American comic book industry is doing better than ever. First, stop that. First, say, yeah, it sucks. Now, address the problem, fix the problem, move on. Hopefully, you'll start doing better. And that's the reality. And I feel like they're grinding down to that. But here's the thing. There are going to be years and years of like, those talking points. Those are Comicsgate talking points. That can't be true. We're doing better than ever. But hey, guys, how do we fix the hole in our boat?
Well, honey, see, they are still trying to bury their head in the ground. Instead of addressing why comics are not selling, they decided, why don't we go find out what comics actually sell? It's like, that's a very weird roundabout way of trying to save the industry.
Yeah,
trust me, they are not going to like the results that they find. They're going to find out all the books that they make for the sake of trying to appeal to some demographic they think exists. Probably are not the top sellers.
Right. Well, on that note, let me do a little e-begging myself. Inglorious Rex is up and funding $207,000, $876, 1,931 backers. Please go over here and consider backing this monster beat 'em up book, Inglorious Rex. If you like Godzilla, if you like Rocky, you're gonna love this. I'll leave you guys with a trailer for Inglorious Rex. Also, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, as we are hoping to get to 10,000 subs in 2023. You could become a member of this here channel. I'll leave you guys with the trailer for this smash hit comic, and we'll catch you guys again with another video.
Stepped on the scene, I got greatness all in my jeans. Ain't no way that I can slow down. I'm laced up, look how I shake the ground. Can't touch the crown, but you can kiss the ring. Close your eyes and see how I live a dream. I'm too smooth, MJ with the lean. Don't be fooled, I came through with the team. This is over their heads, how high can it go? I'm too over the edge, got my eyes on the goal. And we right back at it, keep them right on their toes. Look at the way that I move, this is all that I know. Cause I got the drive, I put it in gear. Line them up, I don't see no competitors here. If it ain't first place, we really can't settle for it. Listen up, get ready for it.